Hey creeps, my name is Cameron Chaney, author of Autumn Crow, and welcome to Library Macabre. Today, I have quite the unboxing for you. Just one second. Oh my god. Look at all of this. I bought nearly an entire collection of middle grade and young adult vintage horror books, and I'm talking some really obscure stuff. Things that don't come up for sale very often. Things that I've been looking for since I was a kid, honestly. These were books that were not in all of the grocery stores with the Goosebumps books. So I got really good deals on all of these books. I saw them being listed little bits at a time, and I got really excited over a few of them. And then I saw that there were more being listed, and more, and more. And before I knew it, I had made 3 separate orders. I had bought about 40 to 50 books. I was like, if I'm ever gonna get these books, now is the time to do it. So I jumped on it fast, and I'm glad I did, because there were a whole lot of other people buying up the books that I didn't want. So I know that if I hadn't acted fast enough, I would have missed out on all of these. And I probably would have waited another several years before ever finding them again, because it's been years and years and years looking for these books. Oh my goodness. I am so excited about these guys. So most of these are middle grade horror books, kind of like Goosebumps knockoffs, but there are some young adult horror books in here and a few adult ones sprinkled throughout, like some Paperbacks from Hell kind of books, like this one right here. This is an adult horror paperback, and that is Madeline by Bernard Taylor. They didn't have very many adult horror books, but they did have a couple, and this was one that I definitely wanted. Bernard Taylor is an author that I have not read, but I have found a few of his books, and I've heard really good things about his work, and I've been wanting to snag a few more and hopefully read them soon. This is the edition from 1993, though it originally came out in 1987. I have some other editions that match this in style, so I thought now was my chance to get a really nice copy of Madeline, or Madeline, by Bernard Taylor. And here's another adult book, though this is actually a suspense book. This is a Pinnacle Suspense, Stormfront. This is by Barbara Clark Cross. It's kind of like a Mary Higgins Clark kind of thriller. Here we have a nice painted scene with a beach, a big old mansion or resort on the hill, and then a bikini top and a journal. So I don't really know what's going on here, but I do know that the book is about a hurricane, and there's also a serial killer at the same time, kind of being trapped in a building. The synopsis kind of gives me the I Still Know What You Did Last Summer vibe. This is a first printing from 1992, and it's a beautiful, beautiful paperback copy. So I'm glad I snagged this. The artwork actually kind of reminds me of Tim Jacobus. He actually did a lot of these suspense books, but I don't see his signature anywhere, and it doesn't exactly match his style to a T, so it's probably not him. Now, all of these books were listed as being in brand new condition, so far we're off to a good start. This is Witchery Hill by Wilton Katz. Don't say that 3 times fast. I don't know what this is about. All I knew was that it's very rare, and I like young adult horror, and I try to collect as much of it as I can. So this is basically about a teenage guy named Mike who's going to spend the summer with his dad, and there's a coven of witches that meet out in the woods. So yeah, you can't really go wrong with that. It sounds really good. Here's another young adult book. This is one that I have been needing very, very badly. This is part of the Zodiac series. It's called Death Grip by Jenna N. Malcolm. I believe I now have all of the US books, but there is a separate set in the UK where after they canceled the series in the US, it continued on in the UK, and I don't have any of those. And this one's really awesome. This is a series I've been trying to collect for the longest time and just have a hell of a time trying to find it. I have a couple of the books. I still need to find some other ones. This is Ghost World, the Ghost World series. This one's called Cold Dread, and it's about a couple of teenage kids who get trapped in the ghost world, I guess, and they're exploring it, and there's dragons and ghosts and monsters and all kinds of crazy creatures. I had never seen this cover before, and I was really excited to see it. It looks really cool. In fact, I just dug out the other 2 that I have so you can see them. Here is Ghost World Midnight Chill, and then the final book called Final Frenzy, which is especially rare. I think there's 6 or 7 books in the series, so there's quite a bit more I need to get, but I'm making some progress, so yay. Okay, here's one more young adult horror book. These are more like dark fantasy, I guess. but I do kind of put them in the horror section because L.J. Smith kind of balances that line between horror and fantasy. This is L.J. Smith's Night World series. They did have a few other books in this series that I really needed, and I wasn't fast enough, and I missed out on those. Somebody got them before me. Damn it! I actually already had it. I checked my shelves and everything to make sure I didn't have it, and I do. How did I miss that? That happens to me sometimes. That's why I'm trying to catalog my collection. It's a lot of work. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Here's one that I also already own, but this is actually a replacement because my copy is an ex-library copy and it's very chewed up. This one is Spooksville, number 15, Invasion of the No Ones. It's by Christopher Pike. I'm getting close to completing my Spooksville collection, but these last few books have been a pain in my butt to find, and I'm getting there, but it's going to take a little bit longer because they're very rare, and when they do go for sale online, they're just way too expensive. This one I had never heard of before. In fact, there's a lot of books in this box that I had never heard of, but it looked too cool to pass up. This is Mike Gonzo and the Sewer Monster. This is by Bill Kreider. It's amazing. I love this artwork here. I love this kid with the metalhead t-shirt. I love that there's a giant mouth here opening up about to eat the kids. And it says here on the back that there are more books in the series. Mike Gonzo and the Almost Invisible Man. And there's also one called Mike Gonzo and the UFO Terror. This is the first book in the series. I'm gonna need to track down those other ones. Hopefully their covers are as good as this. Yay. Oh, I'm so excited by these books, guys. There's so many here that I've been wanting for so long, and I can't believe they're in my hands and that they're in such good condition and I didn't really have to pay much for them at all. So this is Frightmares by Peg Carrot. A very rare series of books, kind of a Goosebumps knockoff, but it's a little bit more like Spooksville, where it does follow the same kids around. This one I had never seen before and was very excited to finally find a copy. I mean, a lot of these books, you can see them online, but a lot of the times they don't even have stock pictures. Like you don't even know what they look like until you order them and get them in the mail. So this is Frightmares, Bone Breath, and the Vandals. This one doesn't really seem to have quite as much a spooky theme as the others. I have a couple other books in the series and they are a little bit more spooky than this. One of my favorite things to do is peek in the backs of these books and see what ads are in the back. So we have Are You Afraid of the Dark back here. That's pretty cool. Here's another really exciting one. Man, these covers really bring me back. This is Heebie-Jeebies and Howl High. I have one of the other Howl High books. I'm gonna go grab it really quick. So here's the first book, Howl High. Has a really nice cover. So this is the sequel to this book. I don't know if there are any other books, but I really hope there are because I will find it and get it eventually. Just such nice copies. I want to get out some more books. Yay. Here's Vampire Mom by Dawn Whittington. I am closing in on this series. There's just one more I need to get and then I'll have all of them. The one that I need is called Zombie Queen. And I'm gonna get the other ones in the series so you can see just how cool these covers are. So Vampire Mom is the second book. And here are the others. This is book 1, Werewolf Tonight, Spook House, that's book 3. I need to get book 4, but here's book 5, Freak Show, and the 6th and final book, which is called Ghost Ship. And they've all got these really nice embossed covers. I'm hoping that with this video, you're gonna see a bunch of books and you're gonna go, I've never seen that before, which is what I did while browsing the eBay store and finding all of these books. I can't tell you how many times I said, I've never seen that before, which is saying something because I'm obsessed with these books and this is all I do is just research these books and try to find new ones. And this means when I do my updated middle grade horror Goosebumps knockoff collection video, I'll have plenty more to show than I did last time. For instance, the House of Horror series. These are super rare. I've never seen them go for sale. Couldn't believe it, but I was able to order a whole bunch of these. This is book 2. It's called Rest in Pieces. It has the most amazing cover. I love disembodied hands, and it's got this embossed font up here. Looks very cool. And I am planning on binging some of these series. Like this is about 6 books long and they're very short, so I should be able to read it really quick. I'm hoping to binge through it and then tell you what I think. If not here on YouTube, then on my Patreon or something. Another very rare series that I've been trying to collect is the Erie, Indiana series, which was one of my favorite shows growing up. It was a great show, came on Fox Kids in the 90s, and I've been trying to find all of the books. And I've had a lot of luck, but there's still a couple more I need to get to fill in the gaps in my collection. Let me know if you loved Erie, Indiana as much as I did. Definitely drop me some comments below, because I can talk about Erie, Indiana for the longest time. Here is another House of Horrors book. This is number 5, Knock Knock You're Dead. Like I said, I made a few different orders and they listed all of the stuff out of order, so you're gonna see a lot more House of Horrors sprinkled throughout this video. It has a really cool cover with this burning house and then this skeleton arm, ghostly skeleton arm coming out. Stay tuned, because book number 4 in this series has the most amazing cover I have ever seen. And I'm really excited to get to it. All right, so this one is called Nasty the Snowman, and it's part of the Fiendly Corners series. And what's really cool about this series, aside from the fact that they are extremely rare, and I was really lucky to get this, is that they have die-cut covers. Look at that, oh my God. Oh my God, it's beautiful. This series looks like so much fun. And I love that title, Nasty the Snowman. Who comes up with this stuff? And like, even the illustration around here is just gorgeous. So this is book 4 in the series, and I also have book 1. I just wanted to show it to you so you could see what book 1 looks like. It's really cool. This kind of reminds me of the Haunted Mask in a way, but without the mask. Next, another volume in a very rare series. Here's The Spider's Child, Volume 3, Flash Flood. And this is published by Z-Fave, which is an imprint of Zebra Kensington Publishing. Obviously, if it's from Zebra, it's gotta be really rare, right? And it is. Took me forever to find this one. The most common one is book 2. Which is the one I have, but book 1 and book 3 are super hard to find. I still don't have book 1. It's gonna take me a while to find it, but I'm glad I finally got book 3. Aha! Here is another Erie, Indiana book. This is Finger Lickin' Strange, and this one has a cool step back art. How many of these do I need now? I don't think I need very many. See, that's book 10, that's book 14. My other ones are way over here. So I only need like 3 more books, and then I'll have them all. Screen Mates, another rare one. These books are very difficult to find. This one's called Monster Jam. It's book number 3 in the series. Here are the ones that I have in the series so far. I guess I have the first 4, and I don't know if there are more after that. There might not be. So I might actually have the full series. There's book 1, Haunted Cleats. Book 2, Aliens in the End Zone, which is my favorite cover of them all. And book 4, Field of Screams. I've actually had this one for a long time. I feel like I've had this one since I was a kid. All right, so this one isn't quite as obscure. I'm sure most of you have probably heard of this series before, and that's Graveyard School. It's a big series. The first like 10 books are pretty easy to find, but they get increasingly harder to find as you go. This is book 12. I already had a copy of this, but mine was not in very good shape and I wanted to replace it. This one is a super nice, shiny first printing. Here's a very obscure one. This is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. This is an adaptation for middle grade audiences who are more into Goosebumps. This is a whole series of books. It's part of the Bullseye Chillers series. Some of these are adaptations of classics, contemporized for young readers. Others are brand new books, and you're gonna see even more of these Bullseye Chillers later on in this video because I did manage to find a few of them. This one I had never heard of before. This is The Web, Volume 1 by Tom Hughes. They're here, spinning their sinister web, so beware and be afraid. It says they're giant, super intelligent spiders. And this is another Bullseye book. Don't know where I can get volume 2, but I'm gonna try. Here's another super obscure one that I had never heard of or seen before. It is called Spook House. This is by MC Helldorfer. And it's got that amazing, amazing cover art. A haunted house turns into a deadly trap. It's in beautiful condition. And then last up in this box, I have some more very obscure books here that I've been searching for my entire life. First up, more bone-chilling tales of fright. So this is kind of a scary stories to tell in the dark knockoff. These are really, really scarce. I have books 1 and 3, and this is book number 2. I've been trying to get my hands on this forever now. And it does have illustrations. Of course, they're not as good as Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. These knockoffs are never gonna have that Stephen Gamble quality to them. Never read these before. I didn't know about them when I was a kid, otherwise I would have eaten these up. But I did read a lot of Scary Stories knockoffs. For instance, these. So there is a Scary Stories for Sleepovers series. I have pretty much the entire series of those, but the Scary Mysteries for Sleepovers, I did not read when I was a kid. I didn't know about them until a little bit later, and by then they were really rare. So here's number 1, Scary Mysteries for Sleepovers. Number 2, more Scary Mysteries for Sleepovers. Look at that cover. And then this is number 4. Still need to get number 3. Number 4, even more Scary Mysteries for Sleepovers. That box is done, but there's still 2 more. How many books was in this box anyway? 1, 2, 3, 27. Did I count that right? 27 books just in that one box? Sheesh. All right. This is great. I'm a little worried about one of them, but this is really great. So the one that I'm kind of worried about is this one right here. This is 3-Minute Thrillers, The Oozing Eyeball and Other Hasty Horrors. Now, the box that I opened is the smaller one, and this one was a little too wide for the box. So the book itself is a little bit warped. I don't know if you can see this. This is a series that I've heard really good things about. It's basically another knockoff of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. This one has lots of illustrations. There's a nice gooey eyeball for you. Here we go. Here's another Graveyard School book. This one's called There's a Ghost in the Boys' Bathroom by Tom B. Stone. Tombstone. The author of these is actually Nola Thacker. She wrote quite a bit of horror books for kids and contemporary books for kids back in the 80s and 90s. In fact, she is also D.E. Atkins, who wrote a bunch of point books. You get it, Deathkins. She liked puns. Another series that's a lot like Graveyard School is Spinetinglers, and I was able to find some really obscure ones. This is one that I've wanted forever. This is Killer Computer. Just look at that artwork. Holy cow. It's so good. This is number 12 in the series, and then number 22, Student Exchange, which is very rare. These later books in the series are so expensive to order, so I'm glad I was able to get a good deal on these and get them in such nice, shiny, minty condition, and they smell so good. Another really rare series. This is a trilogy. This is book 1, The Darkest Wish, and this one is called Kitty's Wish. I have book 3. I'm gonna go grab it. Here is book 3 of the Darkest Wish trilogy called Wendy's Wish. So I now have book 1 and book 3. I just need to get that middle book. I was, however, very excited to see that they had the complete Spider-Worlds trilogy, another extremely obscure middle grade horror series. So this one is called Spider-Worlds. It is by Duncan Long. This is one that I have seen go up for sale on eBay a couple of times. Usually it's like $20 and they're never in very good condition. But look at this one. It's in beautiful shape. It is totally minty fresh. It's got that beautiful embossed cover. The cover actually really creeps me out because I don't like spiders. This one is book number 2, Lost and Found. It's another one that's totally embossed. Number 3, Hiccups in Time. Here we go. Here's a couple more House of Horrors books. So we've got number 4, the one I was talking about. This is called Aunt Weird. Look at that cover. It's so good. Oh my goodness, it's so good. I love that. I love that she's pulling her head off. It reminds me of Return to Oz a little bit. And then here's book 6, which is called Night of the Gargoyle. I believe this is the final book in the series. Here's another extreme rarity. This is Doomsday Mall by B.B. Foss-Rice, who wrote a lot of really good young adult horror and thrillers. This is her middle grade series. This one's called The Beast. It's number 3 in the series. The seller also had a copy of the 4th book called The Witch, and I was too slow. I didn't get to it in time, and somebody bought it before I could. Otherwise, I would have book 4 to share with you as well. And then there's book 5 called The Vampire, which is the rarest of all of them. I don't think I've ever seen that one go for sale. So just 2 more I need to find to complete my set, but I don't think I'm ever gonna find The Vampire, if I'm being honest. Here is a Strange Matter book. This one is Strange Forces 2. So the Strange Matter series is kind of like a Goosebumps knockoff, but takes place in the town of Fairfield. It's a big, long series of books. I think it goes into the 30s. But then they did these giant, thick books to kind of wrap up the whole series. I love the old school computer generated covers on these. They're really cheesy and fun. And the last book in this box, and then we're going on to another really big box. This one's called No Escape. So this is about a girl who moves into this old house filled with dolls, and one of them is haunted by the ghost of this girl right here. All right, getting into the third and final box. Oh my gosh, look at this. So many books, holy heck. We've been looking at a whole bunch of middle grade books lately, so let's look at some more young adult ones. So here's a very obscure one. This is published by Avon Flair, called Dangerous Secrets. I have been trying to find a copy of this for the longest time. It's got a really nice embossed cover. This is just about a girl who's being stalked, which is what a lot of these young adult horror books are about. But I love them, and I eat them up like they're candy. He came from the shadows. Very obscure. I'm gonna be saying that even more because all of these books are rare, really rare, and I don't see anybody talking about them. Here's one of the Point books that I was missing. Of course, Point horror isn't very obscure, but this one is really rare, and not a lot of people know about this one. It's called Bone Meal, 7 More Tales of Terror. It's a sequel to his book called The Cat Dogs, which I do own. Here's a rare one. This is Nightwings. It's part of the Shockers series by John Peel. This completes my set. I now have all of the Shockers books, and these have really cool illustrations in them. I love this illustration right here. It's about a vampire hunter, so obviously he's just cut off a vampire's head. And then here's one published by Harper in the 90s. It's called Teen Idol, and it's in beautiful condition. It's by Kate Daniel, who wrote a lot of really good horror thrillers for young adults back in the day. This is another one about a stalker. Ah, yes, here it is. House of Horrors, Book 1, My Brother the Ghost. Wow. There we go. House of Horrors. Never thought I would have these books, but alas, here we go. Got some more bullseye chillers. So here is The Mummy Awakes by Megan Stein and H. William Stein. This is another one that's super, super rare. I only recently discovered this one. I have another one here. This one's called Return of the Werewolf. This is an adaptation of The Wolf Man. And then this one isn't an adaptation of anything. This is Tales of the Gross and Gruesome. It's another Bullseye Chillers book. And I love the cover art. We've got bugs, we've got snakes, we've got ghoulish hands, a silhouette of a Grim Reaper, and these scared kids. Actually, they don't look very scared. They look very distracted by the TV. Maybe it was trying to make a statement. Loving this cover. This is Vampires. It's a short story collection edited by Jane Yolen and Martin H. Greenberg. Those are a couple of really big names in the horror world back in the 90s. They penned a lot of horror books and edited a ton of short story collections, anthologies, especially Martin H. Greenberg. I have tons of his books back there on my shelves. Here is that other 5 Minute Frights book. This has the most amazing cover. So this was originally suggested to me by a viewer. I can't remember who, otherwise I would give you a shout out. But whoever you are, thank you for letting me know about this because I hadn't heard of it before. They said that there was a story in this book that gave them nightmares, and it was about a killer scarecrow. And I was thinking, are they sure they're not thinking of Harold from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark? But that was, of course, too obvious. No, there is a story in here about a killer scarecrow. It is simply titled Scarecrow, and has a really creepy illustration. This is a replacement for me. It's Bone Chillers number 9, Attack of the Killer Ants. I loved Bone Chillers as a kid. In fact, I kind of went through a phase where I liked Bone Chillers more than Goosebumps. I now realize that Bone Chillers is not better than Goosebumps, but I did like Bone Chillers a whole lot. I loved the ABC show that came on Saturday mornings, starring Linda Cardellini, who is brilliant. Really, really great, zany, wild show with really cool artistic style. A lot of people would watch that and be like, what's artistic about this? There is an art to Bone Chillers, the TV show. There really is. The books are not quite as zany and funny and goofy. They're a little bit more just straight up Goosebumps knockoffs. I had a copy of this already, but mine was a second print, and I really wanted to snag this first printing. It's got cover art by Tim Jacobus, who did all the Goosebumps covers. In fact, I think he did all of the Bone Chillers covers as well. He was a busy guy. He did so many of these back in the day. Next is The Thing Upstairs by Stephen Mooser. Stephen Mooser is great. He had so many wonderful books all throughout like the 70s and 80s. This is one of his 90s middle grade horror books, also with cover art by Tim Jacobus. And this is such a good image. I love this cover, and I'm going to be reading this soon. I've wanted to read it for so long. Got another Graveyard School. This one is very rare. This is book 16. It's called Don't Tell Mummy. I hardly ever see this one go for sale, so I was stunned to see one in such nice condition, and the fact that it was only like $4. Such a good feeling to finally get this. Here's another really rare one, Phantom Valley, Dead Man's Secret. It's a very short series of books, but they are pretty hard to find. I've got 4 more here. These are awesome. So these are all Sweet Valley Twins books, but they are horror themed. It is the Frightening 4 series, a series of 4 books that all have a continuing storyline. So here is number 97 in the series, but book 1 in the Frightening 4, Too Scared to Sleep. 98, The Beast is Watching You. This cover is actually really concerning to me. She looks like she's really hurt. The Beast Must Die. And book 100 in the Sweet Valley Twin series, and the final book in the Frightening 4, If I Die Before I Wake. Just really cool step back art. Gosh, and there you have it. I don't know how many books are here. 58. 58 books. Wow, what a haul. This is probably my best haul ever. I don't think I've seen so many obscure vintage, middle grade, and young adult horror books all in one place before. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you sat through this whole video, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck in your book collecting, and I will see you in the next episode of Library Macabre. Later, creeps.